Good morning, students. Today let us study about decision tree regression and non-linear regression. So these are the key takeaways for today's session. First we'll have a brief introduction of decision tree regression, and then let us see about the fundamentals related to decision tree algorithm. Then let us see about non-linear regression and certain assignments which are very important from GQ exam point of view. No doubt we are seeing standard university papers, but these are some standard questions which are asked in a GQ question paper. Now, decision tree regression is a form of a regression tree which could be used for both classification as well as regression. It is basically a form of non-linear. It could be used even for linear. In short, whenever there are non-linear expressions, non-linear data sets, the time decision tree is used. Non-linear data sets could be many of the form. It could be polynomial, it could be cubic, it could be log, it could be any other form which is basically not linear. Right? So let us see more about decision tree. So decision tree is one of the most commonly used practical approaches for supervised learning. So it is a supervised learning technique, right? Very popular in machine learning. This algorithm is popular because it has various advantages. Now it can be used both for regression and classification as specified. Decision tree build regression or classification models in a form of a tree structure. They normally have a root, right? It looks very much like a uprooted tree which has certain branches and certain leaves. So tree is also going to be of the same form. Now it basically breaks down the data set into smaller and smaller subset, while at the same time an associated decision tree is incrementally developed. So the data set is broken based on certain features and an incremental approach is followed to build the tree. A binary recursive algorithm could be called to build a tree. So the final result is basically a tree with decision nodes and leaf nodes. So a tree structure basically has various types of nodes. These are basically the fundamentals of the decision tree. Firstly, we will discuss about root node. So this is basically the initial node that is represented and at the top, and it will have the entire sample and may get split further into various branches. If we are talking of a binary tree, there would be two branches. Right? Then we have the interior node. So in interior node, it basically represents the feature of your data set, and it basically has different branches which are representing the decision rules. Then we have the leaf nodes. These are the last nodes. No nodes are ahead of leaf nodes. So these are termed as terminal nodes and they represent the output. Now the algorithm is very useful for solving decision related problems. So decision tree solves the problems of machine learning by transforming the data into a tree representation which has a root, terminal nodes and the intermediate nodes. So the terminal nodes, as I told you, are the decision to be considered. Decision trees are commonly used in operation research, specifically in decision analysis. They are basically used to help identify certain strategies which are most likely to reach a specific goal, but are also a very popular tool in machine learning. So let us see certain few more points related to decision tree. Now let us focus on regression tree, which is a decision tree. So this is basically built through a process known as a recursive binary partitioning, right? Which is an iterative process that basically splits the root node into various branches, right? Or it could be also called as partitions, and it continuously splits each partition into smaller groups, and this is a method that is followed and a new branch is created, right? So method moves up for each branch. So the regression tree takes ordered value with continuous value. So when we use data points to create decision tree, every internal node of the tree represents an attribute and the leaf represents a class label. That's a decision. Right? So there are various key terms related to decision tree. Firstly, we have a root node, which is the topmost decision node in a decision tree. Decision node is basically a tree node or a parent node that splits into one or more child node and is called as a decision node. Leaf or a terminal node, this is basically a bottom node that doesn't split further, right? These are the last nodes, that's why they are also termed as terminal nodes. And then you have splitting, this is basically a process of dividing the node into two or more branches, right? Or a child node. Branches will be having the child nodes. And then pruning, this is the opposite process of splitting, where you basically remove certain child nodes of the decision, and so it is called as pruning because it is pruning the child nodes. This is a representation of a tree where you have root node at the top, you have interior nodes which have root node as a parent node and leaf node as its child on the left side. Interior node can also have certain other nodes as interior nodes, and then finally there will be leaf nodes. The last node is basically termed as leaf node, which is represented here in blue color. And the oval shape are interior nodes which can have parents. Right? Leaf nodes do have parents at one level. Now this is another decision tree regressor which is trying to show the process of splitting and the process of where the branch or the subtree is created. Firstly, we have a root node, then a decision node is created which is split at the root. So we are splitting it at two levels, and then that is termed as a decision node, and then you have some more children of it, or it could be another decision node, and decision node further can have leaf nodes. So they are termed as terminal nodes. So here you can see the terminal nodes are represented in green, and the decision node are represented in orange, and the root node is represented in blue color. So color representation is differentiating the different types of nodes. Now decision tree, these are basically plotted upside down. As I told you, the root is at the top and the leaf nodes are at the bottom, the last nodes, right? So that the root node, as I told you, is at the top and the leaf nodes are at the bottom. So decision tree algorithm can be applied to both, as I said, regression as well as classification tasks. So regression tree are used when dependent variable is very continuous. So for regression tree, the value of the terminal nodes is basically the mean of the various observations that are falling in that specific region. So there, if at all there is any unseen point that which falls in that region, is basically predicted using the various mean values which are seen in the previous observations. Right? So whenever there are non-linear or complex relationship between features and labels, you need a model that is very easy to understand. That is where a tree could be used. Now, as we have seen the various fundamentals of decision tree, let us see the advantages of the decision tree. Right? So when using decision tree algorithm, it is not necessary to normalize the data. There are various other algorithms where normalization becomes the first step and it complicates the further process. So decision tree implementation can be done even without scaling the data as well. So scaling also consumes certain time. So that could be reduced here. That process will, of course, again complicate the data and the further process. So when using decision tree algorithm, it is not necessary to impute the missing values also. It can work even without without managing the missing values. Now the data pre-processing step for decision tree requires less code and analysis. So the code to draw a tree is very less. So the pre-processing steps are reduced here, and also the analysis part is also going to consume less time. The data pre-processing step for decision tree requires comparatively less time. And the concept behind decision tree is more familiar to programmers as they can understand trees very easily, and it is comparatively easier to understand as compared to the other algorithms, other similar algorithms. Now, as we have advantages, we also have disadvantages of decision tree. The mathematical calculation that is basically involved in decision tree requires more memory, and it also requires more time. So this is where every algorithm might suffer because it such algorithms might suffer because they need more memory and more time. So the reproducibility of decision tree model is highly sensitive to small change. If at all any smallest change in the data will basically change the entire or a large change is observed in the tree structure. A large tree structure could be changed. So changes at the nth movement or a small change should be avoided, but as in practical things, changes do come, so it needs to be accommodated, in which case it will affect the entire structure or a major largely part structure of the tree. Also, the space and time complexity of the decision tree model is relatively higher as compared to few of the algorithms. Right? So, decision tree model training time is relatively more as the complexity is comparatively high. Single decision tree is a weak learner. It takes a lot of time to learn, and we need a bunch, because of weak learning capability, we need a bunch of decision tree that is called as random forest for better prediction when applied for regressive tasks. Now let us compare about decision tree versus linear regression. So decision tree can be implemented using regression as well as classification models, whereas linear regression is focusing just on regression problems only. So decision tree can be used for regression even when the non-linear relationships between the features and the output variable exist. Whereas linear regression is used only when there is a linear relationship between the features and the output variable. Now decision tree also works well when compared to linear regression when there are missing values. As I told you, one of the advantage of decision tree is to see that it works with missing values as well, right? Whereas linear regression needs all the data appropriately. So decision tree can be implemented without converting the categorical values to numerical. However, linear regression algorithm requires the categorical values to be converted to numerical values. Conversion is a must in linear regression, whereas in decision tree it can work even without converting the categorical values to numerical values. Now, there are certain issues related to decision tree. Firstly, you have to guard against the bad attribute choices. So whenever you select the attributes, you have to be aware that it will give you good result. Else, if you select bad attributes, maybe it will affect the tree structure that is drawn. Then handling continuous valued attribute could be an issue at times. So handling missing attribute values also could be issue. No doubt it does work with missing values, but still it could be an issue handling them. Then handling attributes with different cost also could raise a major issue and affect the tree structure. And overfitting is one of the major issues of decision tree or regression tree. Now, as we studied about decision tree, let us see about non-linear regressions. Non-linear regression, any regression which is not linear is termed as non-linear. You have various types of non-linear regressions which we will see. So polynomial regression or NLR it is called. It basically fits a curved line to your data. Linear regression do have a straight line, whereas these are represented by a curve. Now they can be termed as non-linear, and because as I told you they focus on non-linear data and they are represented by the polynomial of k degree, that is the maximum power of x. Now you have various types of non-linear regression. It's like cubic, quadratic, exponential, logarithmic and sigmoid and logistic. Now let us see one by one. So a cubic function is of the form of third raised to any factor of x raised to third power, right? Plus x raised to second power and so on. It could have all the powers x square and x raised to 1 and so on, right? So they could be in the reverse form also from first to 3 or 3 to 1. So the graph basically that is drawn for this particular non-linear expression is not straight, right? So the representation here you have is y hat equal to b0, these are the coefficients, b is coefficient and the x power, right? So plus 1x cube plus 1x square plus 1x raised to 1. So this is a cubic regression equation, and the graph they draw is basically not a straight line but it is a curve. So here you can see this is the graph, it is an arc basically, right? So it is the representation of a cubic regression chart where you have the independent variable on the x-axis and the dependent variable on the y-axis. Similarly, let us see the others. So a quadratic equation is one in which it has an x square power or a power of 2. So here y hat is equal to the variable multiplied by the variable x or raised to the power 2. Right? So here you have y hat equal to x square. Then we have the curve. Basically you can see this is the quadratic regression chart, in which case it is trying to show an U shape. So it is an arc, it is not a straight line. So here also we have the independent variable mapped on the x-axis and the dependent variable mapped on the y-axis. Then we have the exponential, in which case it is with the base c, and it is defined as y hat is equal to the intercept plus the slope multiplied by a constant which is raised to the power of x. So here you have y is equal to a plus bc raised to x. So this is basically an exponential regression function. So let us see the graph it is drawn. So here you can see again it is not a straight line, it is basically an arc. So exponential regression chart is like an arc which is shown in the figure with independent variable on x-axis and the dependent variable on the y-axis. And then we have the logarithmic, which is y hat equal to log of x. So this is basically the result of applying the logarithmic map on the variable x, and it is one of the simplest expression of the logarithmic form. And then you can see the arc of the logarithmic regression chart, it is not a straight line. And then finally let us see about sigmoidal or logistic. This is basically represented as y hat equal to 1 upon e raised to minus x, or it is e raised to b1 bracket x of x minus b2. So this is how it is basically represented. This is your logistic expression regression equation. So it's a variation of linear regression, and it is used very often and useful when the observed dependent variable y is a categorical variable. These are normally used for categorical variables. So it basically has a S-shaped curve, and it is done by taking the linear regression and transforming the numerical estimates into a probability score, and that is done by using a sigmoid function. So here you can see this is an S curve which is representing a sigmoid or a logistic graph, and it is termed as logistic regression chart. Here also you can see the independent variable is mapped on the x-axis and the dependent variable is mapped on the y-axis. Now it could vary from 0 to 1 or 0 to 10, whatever values you consider. So these are the important questions for this topic. If you have any questions, you can connect to me, right? And any queries, do not forget to mail me at the specified email ID. And let's stay connected for machine learning on this channel. Thank you. We are done for today.